My name is Fernando, and I come with the Region 9 Head Start Association, and I will be your webinar admin today. So feel free to contact me with any questions you may have via the chat option of Zoom, with any logistical questions regarding audio, video, or connection issues. Just let me know, and I will help you resolve those issues. This webinar session will be recorded and will be made available for on-demand consumption after today. We encourage your participation, so feel free to send us your question via the Q&A option of Zoom all throughout the presentation, or wait until the very last part of the presentation and use the button raise your hand, which will allow your microphone to be unmuted so you can speak directly to the entire room. Now it is my pleasure to introduce our topic for today, Science and Math Curriculum Fair Overview, by our presenter, Judy Cashell. Go ahead, Judy.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Fernando. I want to welcome you all to our webinar today. My presentation is titled, How to Plan and Implement a Math and Science Curriculum Fair, a Celebration of Teachers. Today I will be sharing ideas from my work coordinating and facilitating curriculum fairs with Head Start and Early Head Start teachers. This is a powerful form of professional development. I hope you like it and find it beneficial. So let's begin. Next. I'd like to start by introducing myself. I'm currently the Early Childhood Education Manager at the Pacific Clinics Head Start, Early Head Start program in Pasadena, California. I've been working in Head Start management and administration for 25 years in 4 different programs in California. And I'm also on the STEM committee of the Region 9 Head Start Association and serve as the program coordinator for the STEM Institute, which began in 2011. Many of you might have been to the STEM Institute, and we'll be talking a little bit more about that later in the presentation. I'm also an adjunct professor of child development at Pasadena City College. I've been teaching there for 15 years. I currently am teaching early math and literacy and other ECE classes local. I have a master's degree from Bank Street College of Education and have completed the UCLA Johnson & Johnson Head Start Fellowship Management Program. I'm starting to coordinate curriculum fairs some time ago. I began with my colleagues at the Community Action Commission of Santa Barbara County Head Start and found that these events were highly successful in promoting the professional development of ECE teachers. Later in my work in Pasadena, I began coordinating curriculum fairs specifically in the area of math and science, as it has aligned with my work specializing in the area of early STEM education. Next. Let's take a brief look at our agenda for today's webinar. To begin, I will discuss the definition, purpose, and philosophy of the Science and Math Curriculum Fair. Then we will explore ideas about how this type of event supports the professional development of teachers, especially how coaching is practiced as a part of the curriculum fair. I will review with you the steps for planning a curriculum fair and will introduce you to a set of tools which you can use to implement this type of event. The toolbox, as I call it, will help you stay organized, and you can choose the specific tools and methods within that toolbox to fit the needs of your unique program. We will be discussing the coordination of the curriculum fair event and how to use this approach to promote early STEM education in your program specifically. Factors such as establishing equity and helping address the needs of the ECE field will be discussed. You will be introduced to several teachers who took on leadership roles in their curriculum fair events recently as they progressed with their professional development and shared their STEM curriculum project with one another. Next. At the Curriculum Fair event, teachers come together and share their expertise, their ideas, and they encourage one another to build new skills. They share what they've been teaching and what their children have been learning through their projects. They share their stories and their project activities with one another. And they do this by presenting their projects orally and through the use of display boards and the documentation of children's work. By definition, Curriculum Fair is a celebration of early STEM education and learning for young children ages birth to 5 years and their teachers, families, and the community. At the Curriculum Fair, each participant presents inquiry-based science and/or math curriculum ideas that they've used in the classrooms that promote or enrich STEM education. Each teaching team has a display table and a display board. Teachers follow a set process and criteria when planning and displaying their ideas. For example, projects focus on science and math curriculum development and enrichment for all children. So the activities are, of course, developmentally appropriate and culturally sensitive, and the ideas displayed are unique and new, or they could be creative adaptation of traditional activities. What is the purpose of a professional development opportunity event to showcase inquiry-based early STEM learning projects led by teachers who teach teachers to raise the quality of STEM curriculum in ECE programs. There are different types of curriculum fairs. Some curriculum fair events are held by a local program in collaboration with local community partners. Other curriculum fair events may be held in a regional program, such as the Region 9 Head Start Association STEM Institute, and those are in collaboration with various grantees from around the region from various different states. Perhaps someday we'll have a curriculum for a national level with various grantees from around the nation. Next. Many programs start by choosing to conduct a curriculum fair which has a specific focus. For example, when I first worked doing curriculum fairs, we had a different theme every year. We did a health and safety curriculum fair, and then the next year we did a dramatic play curriculum fair. Currently, there's a great need in the ECE field to increase children's learning outcomes in early math and science specifically. Also, there's a need to develop the knowledge and skills of teachers to teach early math and science. Teachers often get very little instruction during their teacher preparation programs on how to teach early math and science. And so for this reason, many programs are looking for new opportunities to raise the competencies of the teaching staff and the quality of early STEM education instruction in their programs. The project approach is founded on inquiry-based hands-on learning and is often a method of choice for teaching early STEM. Many programs have had some experience using the project approach, and it also works well in alignment with designated curriculums such as high scope and the creative curriculum. Also, class strategies are often used for inquiry-based learning. For example, we know that higher levels of thinking are used in the process of learning scientific knowledge and skills. There is a great need to raise the level of instructional support for children in our classrooms, as we all know. The class area of instructional support is the area of greatest need, and this includes language modeling, quality of feedback, and concept development. All of these domains can be easily integrated into inquiry-based learning through this project approach and through the work of the curriculum fair. As projects expand, children go deeper into their investigations and their predictions. Children learn and formulate new questions. Teacher planning sketches out throughout the months. However, the projects may only last for several weeks, but the planning is deep, and the actual project with the children could be much shorter than the planning and the implementation of the curriculum fair overall. Next. The curriculum fair benefits professional development in many ways. For example, teachers are teaching teachers and using their expertise. Peer coaching, STEM curriculum development. Teacher involvement in professional development increases outcomes for children. Ongoing approach to teacher preparation and coaching. The emphasis here is on outcomes. With teacher input, leadership, and coaching, the quality of instruction will increase, leading to higher outcomes for children. This approach is developed over years as teachers continue to participate in numerous curriculum fairs year after year and continue to develop their knowledge of STEM education, which does take time. Next. The toolbox. These are the forms that we've developed to use for planning and implementing the Region 9 STEM Institute Curriculum Fair. These are tools that you might find helpful when you're planning your own curriculum fair. First is the webbing chart. Sample is filled out on this chart form. The KWL form is next. What we know, what we want to know, what we learned. Many of you are familiar with this. Next, we have a lesson plan form. And there are sample curriculum fair display boards. There's a description of the display. All of these toolbox forms are available on the Region 9 Head Start Association website for you to access at any time. So you can go in there and download them and look at them and begin using them. There's a walkabout, talkabout form that's used during the curriculum fair by teachers to record the information that they learn. There's an information for presenter list so that they can think about what they need to do to get ready to do the fair and how to implement it. A timeline, presentation talking points so they can prepare for their 5-minute or 10-minute presentation on their project. And also a curriculum fair lesson plan book, which is a compilation of all the teachers' various lesson plans. And it shows that teachers have been able to develop their own curriculum within their own programs and support STEM education. And as I said, these forms are available to you on the website. Next. This is the information for presenters. This is part of the toolbox. This sets expectations for teacher participation. What is their role as a presenter? This is the criteria that we gave them to use to plan and display their projects. For example, project planning is very important. Teachers plan a project early in the year using a planning web and/or the KWL process. They follow through with the planning, investigating, and sharing what the children learned. They produce documentation of the project ongoing for however the project lasts, usually a few weeks or maybe a month or two. The teaching team then prepares a display board and a short 5-minute oral presentation to share with other teachers. Presentations are part of professional development. Presenters are invited to give a 5-minute oral presentation describing their project. Oral presentations are optional. The teachers choose who's going to do the presentation orally, and the 3-hour curriculum fair event will include these oral project presentations by the teachers. Their informal review and a discussion of the project displays by the attendees and the presenters includes a walkabout, talkabout activity, and then there's a wrap-up presentation by someone who facilitates the event. Next. So you'll want to have a designated person or a team of people to help facilitate this fair and to help oversee the planning of it with the teaching staff. This slide shows the planning cycle for planning a curriculum fair. It serves as kind of a roadmap, and you would change the dates on here, but you can use this and put your names in here and your agency logo so that everyone knows what your project timeline is. It usually takes about a year to plan and implement a program level curriculum fair, especially if it's the first one you're doing in your program. As we know in Head Start programs, there's so much going on. You'll want to have this well planned on your calendar in advance so that everyone knows when it's coming up and what the activities are each month. Get started early, as you and your teachers will need time to plan in advance. Pre-planning is also needed to elicit community involvement as well. Next. This is a project planning form, and it's the first step for the teachers to begin to brainstorm their project ideas. This is a creative project. Teachers use best practices and identify the direction of the project and the learning objectives early on. This gives the coaches and the managers or the supervisors the opportunities to sit down and discuss these project topics and ensure that they have a STEM focus or whatever the desired outcome is for the particular fair that you're doing. For example, teachers might need to focus on investigations rather than on art projects, or maybe rather investigations rather than a pop fizz experiment type of approach to science. Some teachers will need extra guidance and coaching in order to stay on track with science and math projects. And of course, this happens early on, so they'll change their plans maybe a little bit and adjust what they're doing based on this coaching phase. Next. This is a web that I'm sure you're all familiar with. Is for teacher planning. So you have a team of teachers in the classroom. They would use this to brainstorm and discover and unearth their own ideas. The teachers fully brainstorm as a team. The main topic goes in the middle. It's a concrete topic of inquiry with real-world phenomena that the children can study. Other ideas to explore are then added to expand the project, and investigations are added as the teachers continuing their planning at the beginning and during the initial stages of this project. Next. This is an example of a teacher planning web on earthworms that some teachers developed in our program. And you can see it's an example of a project web used from the project approach. And some of this information we got from a book titled Teachers' Materials for Documenting Young Children's Work Using Windows on Learning by Judy Helms, Sally Benecke, and Kathy Steinheimer. So this is a really good book to reference to develop core knowledge on what project approach is. And if project approach is new to you, then you might want to find a copy of this book or some other resources on project approach to help you develop these early stages of teacher planning. Next. This is the KWL chart that I was referring to, which helps guide the project development. Sample templates are available as a resource to presenters as they use this with the children as part of their project and their presentation. Further project development involves children, an inquiry-based approach to learning. This is the emergent curriculum. The project approach is defined by Lillian Katz, which involves children as taking the lead in planning their learning. It's basically is a scientific process that the children initiate and the teachers facilitate. Teachers add descriptions to each of these three areas based on what children tell them. The teacher could ask, what do you already know about this topic? They'll ask, what do you want to know or find out? And after the investigations, they'll be asking, what did you learn? They invite children to teach each other then about what they learned and from their project. Teachers will choose the topic with the help of the children and then ask these different questions to help children define the topic and the project based on their interests and their knowledge, their prior knowledge that the children have. Teachers also will use a constructivist approach to define the scope and the sequence of the activities and that they use to build the project. Presentation talking points. This slide shows us some information for each of the presenters to review as they prepare for their 5 to 10 minute presentation. And this gives them a little guidance so that when they're talking in front of the group, they are covering the various areas of their project so that the audience can be well informed about what their project was. And they can even practice their 5 to 10 minute presentation in front of each other and give each other feedback. So we developed this last year as a new part of the toolbox. And one of the outcomes that we've seen is that our teachers are really developing their public speaking skills. And it's interesting to see how they model this for each other and how they're very interested in developing this skill themselves. So we hope that this talking point list is helpful to you. Next. This is a sample of the curriculum fair display and boards. So our display boards are used, and they used to be not very uniform, and this past year we created this template to standardize the display boards, and we found that it was a little bit easier for teachers to know what the scope was of what information to put on them. And we also got feedback from other grantees that they used this template and that they liked it. And the result was that it cleaned up the overall look of the displays and it made the event more professional in its presentation. This display design was inspired using ideas from a project book called Teachers' Materials for Documenting Young Children's Work Using Windows on Learning by Judy Helms, Sally Benecke, and Kathy Steinheimer, as well as from display boards from our own program. Project display boards are teaching tools. Presenters put together a project display board with the title, including a summary of the project, with a statement of the intentional learning objectives and concepts. Display boards focus on the documentation of children's learning as they construct knowledge through scientific inquiry. A sample curriculum fair display board template is available here for you to use. This display recommendations helps guide the teachers. Project ideas, activities, and materials used in the classroom or on home visits are documented in presenter displays through the use of photographs, videos, work samples, and or other display boards. Bilingual, multicultural, and individualized child needs are reflected in the activities, materials, and learning environments. This is also apparent in the display. such as showing how to modify an activity to include all children. Displays are enhanced then with materials that enrich the classroom, such as culturally reflective materials, found objects, objects from home, recyclables, objects from nature, or other interesting aesthetic elements. Displays limit the use of commercial products or products from educational material catalogs. Next. This is the Walkabout Talkabout forum. As teachers are walking around during the curriculum fair, looking at the displays, they would use this forum to jot down notes and to collect ideas from the work of their peers. During this 30-minute activity, Walkabout Talkabout, teachers talk informally, share their knowledge, ideas, and what they're observing in the displays. This promotes peer learning and coaching. Notice the inclusion of the Head Start ELOF domains, which focuses on skills that children need to learn. This forum also includes areas for collecting information about infant toddler projects as well as preschool projects. Next. This part of the event offers a very active learning experience for teachers, where they share among themselves as professionals. This is often the highlight of the fair. In my experience, it generates very high energy and excitement. Next. This first link is about the STEM Institute and our Region 9 Head Start Association activities and conferences. We're also making available to you the second link, which is access to all the toolbox materials that I just discussed, which are posted and can be downloaded for your use. Also under this link is an early childhood STEM bibliography listing many materials and resources for teachers, including books about the project approach and early STEM curriculum. Next. Event coordination allows for both planned and spontaneous learning. This parent was inspired at our last curriculum fair. She spoke up in front of 100 people. We didn't have her on the agenda, but we were more than happy when she said she wanted to share, and she told her story about how STEM learning had had a great impact on her child. The planning of the curriculum fair event includes the event program, a schedule for the event, location of the venue, community partnerships and involvement, and of course, family engagement. Next. The fair agenda often includes a 20-minute keynote. In our program event in 2017, we presented the latest recent STEM research to teachers. Recommendations and principles of early STEM education were identified and discussed in a report titled Early STEM Matters. This article is also available on our Region 9 Head Start Association website. We think it's very important for teachers to keep up to date on research and to use it to inform their practice. So we've made this available to you through this link. Next on our agenda, we had this 10-minute parent testimonial. And following this was the 30-minute Walkabout Talkabout exploration of the displays. Then after a short break, we began 90 minutes of teacher presentations, each presentation between 5 to 10 minutes. Some of the teachers this past year put together little PowerPoints even, although it wasn't required or expected, but we see that the level of professionalism that they're wanting to present increases each year. After the presentations, we gave certificates to all of our teacher presenters and ended with a raffle of STEM books and STEM materials for fun. Next. This is a sample agenda from last year's STEM Institute Science and Math Curriculum Fair. We gave this program to all event attendees. This year's program included presentations by 5 grantee agencies, including YOLO, Kids Count, Riverside, Maricopa, and Pacific Clinics. Teachers from all of these programs came to this event in Reno, Nevada, and presented their STEM projects. We're looking forward to having more grantees join together this year at our curriculum fair in North Hollywood in May 2018 at our STEM Institute, which is upcoming. Next. This is the inside of the program, and it lists the content of the event with a list of each presentation, the title of the presentation, and projects, and the teachers, the names of all the teachers, what sites they're from, and what programs they're from. And it includes a daily schedule for the event. As you can see, this event included both math and science projects for infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. Next. At the end of the event, we gave all teacher presenters certificates for their professional development hours and their professional portfolios. Next. At the end of the event, everyone received a book of lesson plans written by the teachers. One significant high-impact outcome of the curriculum fair is that we have written our own STEM curriculum, and now we can share it with others, and we can use it in the future. Next. This is a photograph of a display from the first year of our science and math curriculum fair. It was held in 2009 to celebrate the work of the gifted teachers in our program in collaboration with the Children's Center at Caltech and other state child development center-based programs that we worked with. Next. Last year, family child care providers joined our event and were given the opportunity for professional development as they presented their early Head Start math projects using attribute blocks. These providers worked as a team with their family child care specialist coaching them. This was part of the Early Head Start Child Care Partnership Program, EHS CCP. Next. This was the display presented by the family child care providers, and it included geometry, spatial relations, and even data collection. Some projects started with math activities and developed further into science projects. Next. This teaching team included an assistant teacher who started in our program as a parent, and she ended up going into the field of ECE, joining the teachers as an assistant teacher, and she did the oral presentation for the first time. Her project was a study of block construction. It's a good example of a more experienced teacher here coaching the new teacher. Next. As we discussed earlier, here is an example of teachers engaged in walkabout, talkabout. The teachers go around to the numerous displays, collect new ideas, and discuss and learn from their peers. Next. Here are some examples of projects displayed at past curriculum fairs. They include Me and My Shadow, Caps for Sale, Number Rocks, Speed and Gravity, Balls in Action, Fast Plants, Science Inquiry with Seashells, Form and Function of Threading, Ramps, Rolls, and Roller Coasters, and Leaping Water Navigation System. Next. This is an example of a well-attended curriculum fair which became a full community event. We invited partners and others from many different preschools and other child development programs throughout our city to come and join us. Next. Community visitors who attended the event included teachers, directors, and family child care providers from other local preschool programs. Next. Plans are in place to hold the curriculum fair again, with continued focus on developing innovative education and instructional support to benefit the children. And in the meantime, here he is, continuing to figure things out. Next. These are two stories of teacher projects and presentations. Sarah and Adriana, the Head Start and Early Head Start teachers. This was part of Sarah's presentation at the curriculum fair at the Region 9 STEM Institute in Reno, Nevada. I'm an infant toddler teacher, she says. This will be my 19th year in the field. We have heard of preschoolers documenting their daily activities in print, but what about toddlers? They lack the skills to write the words needed for documentation. Can children under the age of 3 capture documentation of their own? The answer is yes, they can. With the proper tools such as cameras, they're able to document their learning in play, daily routines, and interactions with peers, says Sarah. Next. This was Sarah's first time ever presenting at a conference. Here she is reflecting on her experience. The curriculum fair was a great way for teachers to not only come together to share their ideas, but provide visual aids of how and why we provide these activities to children. Working together to help each other grow and help our children grow is part of why we teach. Teaching doesn't stop with children. This is an example of the high impact that the curriculum fair can have on teacher education and professional development. Next. This was from the presentation of Adriana Marmolejo, a teacher who also presented in Reno. Her project was a Head Start project about wind and weather. Why we can't see the wind, but we can feel it. The teachers described how their ideas grew from the interest of the children. They explained the process of the science investigations and displayed evidence of the children's work, which demonstrated the learning outcomes. Next. The teacher here is describing what the children did and the questions they investigated. Beginning, we started out by asking the children what they knew about the wind. Our first step was for the children to go outside and feel the wind. What do you know about the wind? How fast is it moving? She asked. Next. This was at the STEM Institute Curriculum Fair, also in Reno. A mother and a daughter stopped by to explore the displays. This is an example of an unexpected learning outcome in the moment at the fair, an example of family engagement and spontaneous STEM learning. Next. This was also at the STEM Institute Fair. We know how important it is for teachers to be recognized for their hard work. Teachers were appreciated and recognized by their directors and managers. Next. The Region 9 Head Start Association STEM Institute 2018 is upcoming. It's going to be located at the Garland Hotel in North Hollywood in the El Camino room. The fair will be held on May 9th, 2018 from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Registration is now open for the Region 9 Head Start Association STEM Institute. We hope you will join us at the fair. If you're interested in participating in the curriculum fair by presenting a project as a teacher presenter, please contact Victoria Cashell, and we've listed a link here so that you can contact her. Next. Also, at our Region 9 Head Start Association STEM Institute, we have a featured keynote, Mrs. Chiang Shi-Quinn from Anji Play in China. Please come and join us for this exciting, internationally recognized philosophy and approach to early learning directed by educator Sheng Qingqing. Anji Play is a curriculum of over 130 public kindergartens or preschools in Anji County, China, serving more than 14,000 children from ages 3 to 6. Come and join us and hear this exciting keynote and help us celebrate early STEM education. Next. Thank you very much for joining me today. We are now at the end of our webinar, and if you have any questions, we would be glad to talk further.
Thank you so much, Judy, for the wonderful presentation. At this point, I would like to open up the room for questions, comments, and discussions. So you may now use the Q&A option, send us a chat message, or simply click on the raise your hand button so we can unmute your microphone to speak. Any of those avenues, we can address your questions, any comments you may have. Again, you can also redirect those comments and questions to Judy directly. If you're interested in participating in any of our upcoming curriculum fairs, Victoria's email address is on screen. I would also like to thank everyone for attending today. I want to thank, again, our presenter, Judy Cashell, for her time and knowledge. If you have any questions, again, feel free to contact her or here at the association by visiting our website, www.region9hsa.org. You may find our contact information there, and feel free to address any questions, comments, and we certainly are happy to redirect those to Judy. I will also like to point out, like Judy said, for curriculum fair opportunities, such as the Thursday, April 12th, coming up at the California Department of Education Early Head Start Partners and Parents Conference taking place in Eureka, California, or the Wednesday, May 9th at the Early Childhood STEM Institute taking place in North Hollywood. Please visit our website again. You may find the resources, the tools, application instructions to get started on that process to attend any of those upcoming events. Thank you again, Judy. Everybody, we appreciate you joining us today. The webinar will be recorded and available for on-demand viewing later this week. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you, Fernando. Have a nice day, everyone.